Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert's Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, TNA Genesis aired last night on pay-per-view. I was able to finish it up this afternoon, and I'm going to go ahead and do a little review of the action that we saw. Overall, top to bottom, not a bad show at all. The Countdown to Genesis had a match that was added on yesterday, I believe it was. We had the TNA International Championship on the line in a fatal four-way. Channing Lorenzo, Stax from NXT, who is the TNA International Champion, because his wife, Arianna Grace, is the daughter of Santino Marella, and she turned on Santino, and Channing ended up winning the title. And so we have a TNA title on a NXT wrestler. And so Santino Marella made this fatal four-way match. We had Stax Lorenzo taking on BDE versus Eric Young versus KJ Orso making his TNA return. Now, KJ Orso also had a match in GCW later on that night, Friday night, at Code of the Streets. So that was kind of different. Or Saturday, excuse me. So, not a bad little fatal four-way match. 6 minutes and 23 seconds. BDE was streaming live during the match on his phone, and then he ends up getting his phone taken away by Arianna Grace. BDE then does a dive off the top ropes onto Lorenzo. KJ Orso took out Eric Young. And then you had Orso doing a moonsault onto Lorenzo on the outside. And then Stax ended up pinning KJ Orso. I give it 3-star. It wasn't a horrible match. It had some action to it, but some kind of Channing Lorenzo, Stax retaining his TNA International title. Obviously, Santino trying to stack the deck against him failed. Another match that was added, we had the Diamond Collective, Maya Moore and Tessa Blanchard, along with Robert Stone and Victoria Crawford, taking on Indi Hartwell and Vicki Venuto. The Elegance Brain was at ringside watching this match. They ended up getting involved a little bit. The Diamond Collective ended up winning the match. I ended up giving it 2.5, 7 minutes and 55 seconds. Now, after the debacle that was the AMC debut, that show was horrible. If you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. If you thought that was the greatest wrestling show in the history of wrestling, please turn off my show right now because, I didn't. And that means we don't have the same opinion. But hey. Anyway. When I did the preview of this show, and I said I would talk about certain matches that I won and lost. So there were some matches that I did not pick, right, Nemeth? And I did pick that one. Which one did I pick? Oh, Elijah and Mustafa Ali wasn't one that I picked. So of my picks, I was kind of 3-3-1 basically. The main event, I picked Mike Santana to win, but I also had Nick Nemeth doing a complete cash-in instead of getting a failed attempt like he did. So he still has the trophy, so he still has that shot anytime he wants it. So the first match on the main card was AJ Francis taking on Red Swann. Francis, immediately dropped Swann, and then Swann ended up getting... He threw Swann into the fan, basically into the face of the front row of the fans on the outside, and Francis was taking it to Red Swann. Red Swann has a little face comeback. He ended up biting Francis on the arm. Francis hit a Styles Clash, which was pretty dang sick. And then Swann hits a freaking destroyer. I'm like, everybody's kicking these destroyers now. Pete Williams should go slap all these people. And then AJ Francis ended up doing another Styles Clash, get the victory there over Red Swann. 12 minutes and 19 seconds. I gave it 2 3/4 star. Mustafa Ali, along with Jason Hotch, John, Skyler, Special Agent Zero, and Tasha Steelz, taking on Elijah. Hotch and Skyler tried to take out Elijah with a guitar. They end up missing him. Ali does a dive to the outside. A great hand saved Ali. The referee ends up, because you had Tasha Steelz getting on the ramp and interfering with the referee, and then you had the good hands attacking Elijah. Then you finally had Agent Zero kind of doing his thing on the outside. The referee saw it, ends up kicking the good hands and Agent Zero out. While this happened, Tasha Steelz grabbed Elijah's guitar, goes to hit Elijah with it. He is able to grab her, and then Mustafa Ali grabbed the guitar and just laid out Elijah. They threw the evidence out. Referee comes back in. 1, 2, 3. And Mustafa Ali gets the victory. I give this match 2.5 stars. It's just so much outside interference, and that to me took away from the match. This match could have been pretty good, but it wasn't, unfortunately. Next up, we had the retirement match of JDC. Now, in recent times, we've now had all four major companies, WWE, AEW, TNA, and New Japan, have put on a retirement match for one of their superstars. The first was AEW with Sting's retirement match. They had Sting winning matches up until his retirement match. His very last match, he goes in as tag team champion with Darby Allin. They retain. He goes out on a win, and they end up stripping him of the titles because he was retired. Cool, that's awesome, you know. Then you had, and I saw something online about the attendance. There was like 19,000 people there or something like that, whatever it was. And then you had John Cena's retirement match against Gunther. And you had John Cena tap out for the first time in 20 years and look like a little bitch doing it. And Gunther didn't really get anything off of it. Darby Allin got a big rub from Sting by being there with him as a tag team partner. And then we move on to New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom this year. You had Hiromu Tanahashi taking on Suzuki Okada. Tanahashi's last match. Good Lord, one of the best match of the year, basically on day 4 of the year. 5-star match there. Yes, Tanahashi won, but he got his flowers later at the end, and everybody came out and congratulated him and greeted him and whatnot. We didn't get that here. We got Eddie Edwards kind of hitting a weird kind of pin on him, weird kind of move. We had, at the beginning, they fought on the outside around the ring. JDC did a dive on the outside. He did a freaking avalanche crash off the top rope for Edwards to kick out. Edwards hit the Boston Knee Party twice, and JDC kicked out. And I think he hit a Boston Knee Party at the end. They got the victory, but it was like just so kind of wonky, kind of out of character for both guys fighting on the outside. Yeah, I give it 3.5, and that's me overrating this match. It should have been probably 3.25, but I gave it 3.5. It was okay. I know I said in the preview that I was expecting this match to be something special. Just another match. We didn't get the moment I think they were looking for, like you got with some of these other guys that retired. Even back in the day when Ric Flair retired the first time, and Shawn looked at him and goes, "I love you, sorry," and super kicked his head off. We didn't get a moment like that. Yeah, we got the Boston Knee Party, but he kicked out of it twice. He kicked out of it once, and that kind of ruined the moment. It would have been different if Eddie would have looked at him and maybe looked at him, ran behind him, and just kind of went, and then did it, and then 1, 2, 3. Like, I don't want to have to do this, but I have to do this kind of deal. But we didn't really have that moment, I didn't think. But Eddie Edwards retiring JDC on Thursday on AMC. We find out who the newest member of the system is. Next up, we had Ryan Nemeth taking on Mara Sade. This has just been a joke from the start. You had Mara Sade, just every moment she could, she's freaking super kicking Ryan Nemeth. He's trying to hit on her. She ended up hitting a DDT on him here. She went for a super kick a couple times and missed. But then you had fucking Ryan Nemeth act like a little bitch, and I poke her, and then he ended up rolling her up in the ropes and then holding the ropes to get a pin. 5-minute match, 5 minutes 21 seconds. I ended up giving it 1.5 star. It was just, yeah, it was just pointless. I just didn't understand it at all. Why we did this match at a fucking pay-per-view of all things, but whatever. There's some good parts of the show overall, and there's some crappy parts, and the crappy parts are coming up, trust me. Alright, next up we had the TNA Knockout title line. We had champion Yan Lee taking on Zaria from NXT. Yan Lee had Zaria Brookside, her tag team partner, out of the ring. Ruca was out of the ring with Zaria. Zaria caught Lee off the top rope with a power slam. Zaria was literally just showing her power off in this match. She would stand on the second turnbuckle and literally pull Lee up and just choke her. Zaria fought out of the STF. Power versus precision, one thing one of the announcers said. Zaria hit a cannonball with Lee on her back. So literally, she had Lee on her back. She runs as a cannonball into the freaking corner. Belly to belly suplex on the apron from the ring by Zaria. She spears her, but unfortunately, when she speared her and then put her up for the tornado facebuster, she hit the referee. Referee got knocked out. Then you had Elegance Brand getting involved. You had Zaria Brookside and Ruca taking out the Elegance Brand, and then you had Lee get a straight pin on Zaria. I will say this is probably Ying Lee's best match ever. I give it 3.5. It was a great match though. 14 minutes 23 seconds. It can go down as one of the better matches of the night. Next up, we had the TNA World Tag Titles on the line. Champions the Hardys, Jeff and Matt Hardy, taking on the Righteous, Dutch, and Vince. I've seen a lot of things in wrestling in the umpteen years I've been watching it, going on 30 years of watching pro wrestling since like 95. I've seen some really cool spots, really cool matches, some really awesome matches. I've attended some really just phenomenal shows, seen some really stout stuff that was pretty damn cool to watch and be a part of. I was there for Taker Shawn WrestleMania 25. I was there for Undertaker's streak coming to an end at WrestleMania 30. So I was there when Dana Bryan won the world title in WWE. So yeah, I've seen some really, I was there when Sting debuted for WWE at Survivor Series. So yeah, I've seen some really cool moments live and in person and on TV. This match wasn't that. I mean, I watched some pay-per-view when Jeff Hardy came out high as a kite and Sting hit 2 moves, 2 seconds, and the match was over for a world title main event, and the place damn near rioted. I watched it and did a video on Pro Wrestling Pulse immediately after that show. This match was something else. We had the Hardys literally attacking the Righteous to start out for the match. Plus, I'll go back to yesterday. TNA puts out, we have this big announcement coming soon. Oh, what's going on? They had the big match of the show. What are we doing? The Righteous signed. Wait, they weren't signed and they're in a title match? Okay, whatever. So, Righteous is taking shortcuts. They got Matt Hardy in the corner, was tag teaming him in the corner. Vincent put a finger in that gauge of Jeff Hardy. If you saw on Impact, he put a padlock in his gauge hole in his ear and was pulling it down. Stuck a finger in there, did that tonight. Dutch hit a twist of fate. Vincent hit a swanton. Cool, right? I mean, they're doing the freaking Hardy moves and they look legit. I mean, watching Vincent do a freaking swanton, dude needs to start doing it all the time. Then the weirdness started. So, picture this. You got your ring. Rope here, rope here. They're working in this corner right here. So they're right here in the middle of the ring. He does a twist of fate. He's laying right here. Swanton. He's laying right here. Matt Hardy, with Vincent helping, mind you, rolls 2 times over, closer to this side of the ring. Vincent lays on this way to pin him. Vincent turns his entire body around so his feet are facing that way. Then Jeff pulls him out of the ring. You literally took 30 seconds, 20 seconds to set this spot up. Where he literally goes, you know what? Maybe the best thing to do is actually show this spot and show you how bad this looked on TV. Alright, so right here is 2-on-1. So here's Dutch hitting the twist of fate. Vincent and the Swann helmet. That looks legit. Now watch this. Roll, roll, roll. 3 rolls. He goes to pin him. Nope, I'm in the wrong spot. I need to go over here. And right next to the ropes for Jeff Hardy to pull him out. So why have them hit the Hardy's moves if you're going to just have to do 3 rolls, move around to get in the right spot for him to pull you out? Why not just have Jeff Hardy jump in the ring and stop it? For me, that took a lot away from the match. And then Dutch goes for the leg drop on the outside, ends up missing Jeff Hardy. The Hardys ended up hitting the Twist of Fate and the Swanton in 1, 2, 3. Hardys retained their titles. So I was completely wrong in my preview. This will actually be the longest they've ever held the TNA tag titles. I think they were 180 days coming in, 179. They held them 183 their last reign, I believe is what it was. Yeah, they're 179 on Friday, so 180 on yesterday. 183 is the longest they've ever held the tag titles. So yeah, this will be, time we get to Thursday, this will be the longest ever championship reign for the Hardys as the tag team champions in TNA. And we get a match 2.5 with the Hardys winning that. I mean, that move there took a lot away from me. I'm like, oh my god. I've seen guys move a little bit, but just, I mean, literally completely across the ring roll a guy, and then have to move your body all the way around to, yeah, just to kick out. Yeah, made no sense to me. All right, next up we had Cedric Alexander, Joe Hendry, and Moose due to the fact there were some visa issues with Leon Slater and some other talent as well. And since Leon was stuck in the UK, he went ahead and did the WWE show there on SmackDown. I didn't know the why he was there, why he didn't show up for TNA, and that makes sense now. He's already in the UK. He's from there, so might as well, if you can utilize him, he wants to go have a great match, go and do it. I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know what happened for sure. But yeah, I don't think you needed to add Joe Hendry to this match. You could have done Moose instead of Alexander and been just fine. But they brought in Joe Hendry. Like I said in the preview, Joe Hendry was going to win. Moose did a freaking standing dropkick on Cedric. I mean, literally jumped down. I'm like, oh, I forgot how great Moose was. They don't utilize him that much. I mean, he would be a great guy for WWE to bring in, and you could freaking feud him with freaking either Carmelo Hayes for the U.S. title or whoever the Intercontinental Champion is at the moment. I can't even remember the top of my head. There's so many titles in WWE, it's hard to remember all of them. But yeah, and then you had a freaking Moose powerbomb on the apron. Joe Hendry did a back body drop onto Moose onto the steps. I never ever want to hear William Regal going on social media and pointing out how dangerous AEW is when you have people in TNA and WWE doing spots like that. And Moose laid there at ringside for quite a while with doctors out there, Carl Silva out there and whatnot. And apparently also with WWE, there's some of the tryouts, there's people non-stop concussions at the tryouts. But that's right, AEW the ones that's not safe. But yeah, this Moose looked legit hurt. But yeah, to continue the match. What gets me is when Moose got back into the ring, he did a suplex off the top rope, did a roll up and roll up reverse, no issue. And then the next move, So it's like, was your back hurting you or was it not? Was it spasming? Is that what it was? But it's like, if you're that hurt, why would you want to continue the match? And how are you doing some of these big moves? And then just the smallest move hurts. I don't understand that completely. But Moose had to go to hell on Cedric Alexander. Moose speared Alexander, but wasn't able to get the pin because of his back. Joe Hendry came in, hit whatever his finisher's called on Cedric Alexander. 1, 2, 3 to get the pin. Overall, this match was freaking epic. It would have been just as good if it was the X title. This is match of the night for me. I give it 3 3/4. Our second match of the night, excuse me. The main event was a little bit better. All right. TNA World Title, main event, in a Texas death match. But maybe I don't know the complete rules for a Texas death match, but I didn't understand. So once you get pinned or submitted, you have a 10 seconds to get up. If you get up on your feet in that 10 seconds, the match continues. Okay? So basically, you get a pinfall, then it turns into the last man standing. So Kaz does this leg sweep on Santana. He hit the freaking rope, hit the rope. Kaz gets a chair out. Santana gets the table out. These weren't used at first. They had the back and forth with the chairs. You had Kaz end up hitting Santana in the back with a chair. They fight out into the crowd. They fight through the crowd. There's a couple pinfalls out there, which I didn't know was false count anywhere. And then they end up Santana getting up into the crowd in a little balcony there. I mean, basically it's like where the boards are for hockey. That kind of wall right there in the crowd, just above the floor. It looked like Kaz is going to suplex him back on there. Santana ended up pushing Kaz off and doing a dive on him. Not a really big jump, but if you're landing on concrete, so yeah, it looked like it hurt. Santana did a pile driver, Kaz got a ladder out. Santana did a freaking pile driver off the ladder through a table. He had 2 tables ended up getting completely destroyed in this. One on the outside. The pile driver was on the outside from the ring apron to the table on the floor. And then he did a power bomb from the ladder through the table. At both of them, they kicked, each of them kicked out at one, got up. Santana, I was reading some of my notes here down. Santana pulled out a barbed wire bat and started going after Kaz with it. Kaz blocked it at first. He ended up hitting him in the head and kind of getting some blood there, which was expected. I said that in the preview. I was expecting a little blood. Santana did the ladder spot. Kaz kicked out. Santana hit spin the block with the barbed wire wrapped around his arm. Kaz did not kick out. I mean, of all spots, you get powerbombed off a ladder through a table and you kick out. But you get clotheslined, or that spin the block, that spinning clothesline thing that Santana does with barbed wire, and you don't kick out. But then, pin, Kaz has to tell the count of 10 to get up. He gets up, and one's on the outside where Santana pinned him on the outside after going through the table, after coming off the top rope. Kaz was able to get to his feet by holding on to the ropes, and he fell. After he's up, he fell. This one, the same thing, but it was in the ring. He pulled himself up with the ropes. Both his feet were up. Pretty similar to the one, I have to rewatch it exactly, but it's pretty similar to the one on the outside. Then he fell, and then they called it. I'm like, that's kind of weird, but okay, sure. Santana retaining his TNA World Title in the Texas Death Match. I give the match itself 4-star, and that's what I thought would happen. I thought Santana would retain. And then the special guest referee, Nick Nemeth, hit the danger zone on Mike Santana. Mike Santana's laid out in the ring. Nick Nemeth goes and gets his cup, sitting outside. Takes it over to the announce table, sits it on the announce table, says, I'm cashing that fucker in. Calls for a referee to come out. Referee, a little H in it out there. The ramp wasn't that long. Nick Nemeth gets back in the ring. Instead of hitting the danger zone again, which he should have, Mike Santana gets up, hits spin the block, Nick Nemeth is down. The referee never got in the ring. The bell never rang. Nick Nemeth did not cash in his Call to Shot trophy. Mike Santino is still your World Heavyweight Champion, and Nick Nemeth still has the Call Your Shot trophy. This week we have Feast or Fired. That should be interesting because they've done it before and they got rid of Christopher Daniels. This should be a fun Impact. Apparently Impact's going to be live this week, which is good. I hate it to watch it on TNA Plus when it's live because it drags on with, instead of having commercials, it just has a shot of the arena and you see shit happening and it's not talked about. But we'll see what happens. But overall, top to bottom, not a bad show. Now, there's a lot of people out there that have this narrative now that since TNA is working with WWE and TNA has this AMC deal, they're the number 2 company. Well, this show had 3,946 fans, less than 4,000 fans. And there is a picture around social media showing the entire camera side empty, no fans. There was actually a couple shots during the show where they panned the arena and they stopped, but you could catch the corner and see that was verified, that there was no fans over there. 3,946 fans. When your last show in December had 2,567 fans, and that their other company had 8,968 fans. 8,900 is more than 2,500 the last I checked. The November show had 626 for TNA, and that other company had 10,485. Now, I will give you your October show, your Bound for Glory, and the 25th annual Bound for Glory, or 24, whatever it was. Basically, Bound for Glory is TNA's version of WrestleMania. It drew 7,018 fans. That their other company drew 6,293 fans. So yeah, that their other company does live shows each and every week. While TNA does live shows whenever they feel like it. Once or twice they do a live show. So yeah, I wouldn't quite say TNA is the number 2 company yet. They're at least number 3, if not. I don't think I'd put them 4 in the United States. GCW's not quite bigger than them yet, but they're at least number 3. So that's my opinion, and that's the great thing about pro wrestling. It's 90% opinion, 10% fact. The fact of the matter is, TNA Genesis was last night. The fact of the matter is, there was two matches over 3 3/4 star. The triple threat match with Alexander, Hendry, Moose was 3 3/4. I gave the main event 4 star. You may have liked other things, you may not have. I would love to hear comments of what you liked and didn't like about this show. Overall, it was a strong show. Was it worth paying the money to watch? Yeah, I think it was. But, it is professional wrestling, and everyone has their own opinion, which is great. But don't trash a company if you don't watch the product. That's all I ask. But anyway, as always, thanks for watching Rubber Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a 50-day Rubber Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.